Oh, guys, I am so excited about this chance that we get to interview all three, a brother and two sisters from the band of Cain. And let me tell you, I have been taking this band to church in the last couple of Sundays. I've got people, they come up on stage afterwards. One guy this Sunday in particular, he was like in tears. And I took this Mennonite Brethren conservative church on a little ride with Blessed Assurance, and oh, it was just so epic. And I can't believe that I get to talk to all three of these folks sitting on a couch right now. So I'm here in my little studio. This is kind of like where I play with the tracks, and I put the charts in front of me, and I just kind of get all inside the music, and I just love it. But I also love talking to the personalities and the stories and the folks that make this music. So join me on this conversation with Cain. Here we go. How's that for an intro? I've never done that before. I can't believe it. There we go. We got Logan, Madison, and Taylor from Cain. And I honestly mean it, folks. Your music means so much to me. Like, it's the choice of songs, the style, the groove, the chords, the way you even brought in David Leonard. I mean, it's just, and the family. Family is so important to me. There's so many elements that we could go in this. So really excited to have you here with PraiseCharts.
Thank you guys for having us. And honestly, I just feel like I feel like we made this rendition of Blessed Assurance probably 5 or 6, almost 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
It was as worship leaders, not as Cain the band, but we were trying to lead our congregation in a way where it's like, okay, we love the songs of old, we love the music of new. How can we do this in a way that feels fresh? And I'm thankful that it is connecting still, and
Mm-hmm.
our worship team was always like family to us. You know what I mean? Long before we were a family band, and so I just thank you for seeing us in this way and connecting with
Yeah.
us, because I feel like we are the same.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, like, the music always means so much more for me when I play and lead the songs, and then I sort of connect with them, and I kind of, now it becomes like my song, not just your song, because I'm taking it in my world. I've had a few experience with Blessed Assurance. So funny. Like, the first time I just did it, me, acoustic guitar with two vocalists, and they hit the harmonies just so sweet, but no band. I didn't have like the whole groove. I just tried to do it, no click track, so we were like offbeat, and I was trying to find my place. The next time I led it at a men's recovery center, and oh, it was like awful and awesome at the same time, because they were clapping on 1 and 3, and they were like offbeat, but they were loving it at the same time. And then last week, full band, full groove. I got the bass guitar. He found all the parts, and then piano and everything, and we just like landed right into it. And then this Sunday again, I'm going to a little church in a high school gym, and it's just me on the piano with a really sweet vocalist, and we're doing it again because I just can't get enough of like the good old hymns like that. So really neat.
The most fun part about playing this version of Blessed Assurance is people don't until you come in to Blessed. Like, people, when you do the piano part like that, people are like, oh, okay. And then know this song. It's it's something.
Another fun thing that I had, and then I'll let you speak, but on Sunday when I led the song, I told the story about how Blessed Assurance was written. I'm sure you guys must know the story of Fanny Crosby, and had written 8,000 hymns. Like, can you believe a girl, younger than you or the same age as you, she wrote 8,000 hymns. Blessed Assurance was one of them. And there's a really sweet story of she goes over to her friend's house, and she's just, plays out that little lyric, and out came those words, Blessed Assurance. And so anyways, they kind of introed the song with that story, and people really connected well with that. So love it.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I think there's something special about hymns, and I have a fear that moving forward, I don't want the younger generation to forget or to have
Yeah,
never heard. You know, we were raised in a non-denominational church, but I think our dad had respect for those. You know, there's a hymn that was written in our hometown,
really.
and so
Wow.
yeah, we're rooted in those, and so it's amazing. I just feel like it's a great way to just connect. It almost, when I think about Hebrews 12 and like just the saints, like maybe they were singing these too, and we just like run it all the way through,
Yeah,
just all. So it's pretty cool.
yeah.
We had the small town of Hartselle, Alabama. It was "Leaning on the Everlasting Arms." That
Oh
was
yeah.
written in. We've got three to lights, but we got a pretty famous hymn. So
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Well, how about I'll just put a little pitch out. Next album, Cain, with the old gospel classics or something like that. I think it would be a hit from end to end. So that
I,
would be fun.
we started to put out on social media, and I'm just so uh, I don't know, humbled maybe, but just I love how much our community on social media is connecting to those hymns, because it's one thing if it's like, oh man, we want to sing this, but I think it's God really kind of affirming that feeling. It's like, you don't have to change what's true about me for it to be relevant
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's really great. There's some other things I really appreciate about you as a group. A couple of things. One is you're so unique. Like just looking at the Blessed Assurance video, and I'm thinking, who wears orange pants and an orange shirt, and it's just like nobody does that except when you do it with your fullness of yourself and just smile all the way. It's just like I love seeing people find their own look, find their own style, their own groove, and just don't do it the same. And I feel that about you, that you are coming onto the stage, of Christian music and just saying we don't have to sound like Hillsong or Bethel or Tomlin, and we can still mix with all of them, but we've got our own unique color to bring to the stage. Do you feel like you're doing that? Tell me a little bit about some of the intention you might have in bringing that musically, the look, the style, everything. I just love that.
it it really is fun to kind of get out about this stuff because it's all been incredibly intentional. But the color thing started as a way to kind of solve an argument because
Oh,
Taylor was a little bit bossy about, oh, I'm wearing this, so Logan, you have to wear this. And so we were kind of in these like really fancy dressed up stuff, and he wanted to be more casual, and so we were putting him in a bow tie and suspenders and all.
yeah,
It wasn't good. So we kind of just decided to like, let's pick a color and then everyone can wear what you want to wear. Just wear the same color.
this is a good example. Look at what we're wearing now. Mass has
yeah,
got a leather jacket on,
yeah,
flannel shirt on. This is uniform, but if we're all the same color, we get a lot of credit for it. So it really was kind of in that vein. We started there, and now it's kind of taken on this deeper meaning for us, which is that, I mean, to me, frankly, it's Jesus said, "Why do you worry about what you wear?"
yeah,
And there's something about it that's there's a very Forrest Gump sort of thing about it, where it's like, great, one less thing to worry about, right? We're all
yeah,
wearing the same color, don't worry about it. That has given us a lot of freedom to to kind of move about the space. And
It's just been fun. The shows every night. We didn't know who would participate, but when you buy your ticket, it tells you what's the color of the night.
yeah.
And so last night, just a sea of blue. It's almost been 100%
No
participation,
way.
even from the men. Crazy.
Really cool.
And so it's really, I feel like maybe God gave us this idea. I don't know about, but it's really been awesome. For the first time, I don't feel like I'm a fraud in music. We spent a lot of years
Hmm.
doing music, and I never find my place. And I am officially so rested and settled and just content with what we're doing. And maybe that's why it's bringing joy to you and people that hear the music, maybe because there's just like there's a confidence and a rest in what God
Mm-hmm.
wants us to do.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to speak. You said first when you were asking about our place within this worship community. I think what's really fun for us now is we were a worship band long before we did this professionally. We were in our
Yeah.
parents' worship band church that we grew up in. We were in a worship band in a student led ministry when we were in school. The songs that are on Honest Offering, almost all of them were written before our first album.
Hmm.
I did air quotes, album exists.
Yeah,
But before the album that people would know us from in the contemporary space with Rise Up and the Commission and these other songs, these worship songs were coming out of our hearts first. So it is very, very fulfilling for me to be able to say, God, thank you for opening this door with this other music, but this is the stuff that I feel like is a true representation of who we are. And when you see us, so he's brought the two together. Where we're wearing
Yeah.
orange pants, we're doing this style of thing, but this worship music is really who we are.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we talk a little
It's
bit about the music styles? So we got the sort of the color, and I didn't even know that you had the whole place in the same color, and that everyone's kind of joining with you. That's like, you got to be there to experience that. I would love to. I'm going to CAIN as soon as CAIN comes to my town. I'm telling you. But musically also, you don't fit. I mean, yeah, you've got a bit of a gospel vibe to you, but I also feel like it's your own thing. You're doing what you want. So tell me about that. What musically is inspiring you? Where are you getting some of these roots from?
I you know it's so we pursued country music for 5 years before we truly laid it down. Our grandfather worked in country music publishing and was like, hey, like I feel like I could have an in for you guys. So when we moved to Nashville, we're like, yeah, let's give it a shot. But we don't drink, and so we never wrote about alcohol, and we
Mm-hmm.
didn't believe in so we didn't have, so it really was like a very limited amount of country, but it was cool because we got to learn the art of a country story song.
Yeah.
But I feel and then in the process, Taylor turned me off to the hip is what it's called. It all, just southern rock, Marshall Tucker
Mm-hmm.
band,
Mac,
in
and
yeah.
doing a deep dive because we grew up listening to Amy Grant, Stephen Curtis Chapman. I mean, we are the perfect kids for Christian radio.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
going back to listen to Waylon Jennings and Johnny Cash and almost like catching up on the stuff that we hadn't really learned about, I fell in love with the harmonies from Fleetwood Mac. I was so
Yeah.
intrigued by the harmony from the Eagles and that style of music, almost where the production was just stripped away. They
Yeah.
didn't have that option, and I really think how you hear us live, I want that to come through when you put our music on. I want you to feel like, oh wow, I'm in the room with them. And so
Yeah.
that was like, it was really fun that God took us on that journey and used like music that we had never listened to before to really shape. I mean, Bill Withers, we did a lot of recording in Muscle Shoals. Like, there's so much that I just felt like we were grabbing onto, and it was like, oh, this is bringing me to life. So
Yeah.
I think it's just amazing to talk to you because I know you know so much about music, and thank you for caring about this part of it. This brings all this to life when people just really
For sure.
appreciate sound,
Oh yeah. Hey, trust me, I can go deep. In fact, I have thought there's one little thing. This is very musical nerdy, but anybody who's a pianist out there, I'm gonna show you a chord I discovered inspired by you. I already played it, but now I'm starting to this is leaking into other things I'm doing. So the chord is this is very technical, but it's a 1/7/3. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say that? I'm going to show you. And this is in Blessed Assurance. Can you hear this right now? I'm sitting at my piano. Does my piano come through? A little bit? Anyways, this is what it sounds like. This is so like just that Blessed Assurance. Anyways, if you want to bring in a little bit of like groove, you find that one chord, make it into a 7, go over 3 and pass up into the 4, and it's like, oh yeah. So I had another song this last weekend. I was leading "God Is on the Throne" by We the Kingdom. I really like their style as well. And every now and then I'll find a chord that's like, oh, this is so rich, and I just want to work this in.
You said it, Rich. And I think that this is something, there's a concept that we were raised on. So our dad, who was our pastor, met the Lord after he went through college
Yeah,
and became as an adult, found his faith, started a church. And so I have always said we were raised by a pastor who was raised by rock and roll. But my dad used to tell me stories, and he would say, when I hear a certain song, he said, I can taste pizza from the local pizza.
yeah,
He's like, there's about it. And I think over time, in an effort to make it more holy, we tried to make Christian music more simple.
yeah,
And so what we have found is that richness of the music. When you played that 1/7/3,
yeah.
that does you even if no one's singing.
Right.
And that
Yeah,
there's a there, if we'll allow God to have it, that even if the music is rich and excellent, He can do more with it in the silence
yeah,
than we're doing, even in what we're singing. So I think that's a part of what we're trying to do is we're trying to surround ourselves with people that are even better musicians than we are, and say, listen, what do you hear? What do you do? And that
yeah,
was what was so fun about offering. That's our first live track. We recorded it as they played it. We recorded it and sang it. It all was how it was in the room. So when we push
mm-hmm,
play, it takes me back to that place
mm-hmm.
mentally. And
Do you know that 4/5
I was about
chord
to
too?
say, like,
That's
Oh
my
yeah,
favorite.
if you look can tell we discovered the 4/5. It's just like dun, dun, the one. Yeah.
we're a big
4/5.
some people are going to be listening to this interview going, "What in the world are they talking about?" But you got to learn this stuff, folks. You got to learn numbers. You got to learn chords. Get to a place where you can converse like this because it's so rich and stimulating to explore some of these musical things. And let's start like not always sounding the same, right? We can just, like you say, enriching our music and so another thing I just wanted to go to is I love David Leonard and how you brought him in. I know we're talking a lot about Blessed Assurance, but really I just want to talk about what's it like being a brother and two sisters, and then you get this guy that comes in and he's not from the family, but he feels like he fits right in. So I want to talk a little bit about family and community and how that functions in the CAIN world, and maybe some of the heritage that you guys have bring to the stage here. Can you, each of you, maybe one at a time, just riff a
Yeah.
little bit about family and community in your world?
Well, I feel like we're part of a legacy. When you think
Mm-hmm.
about how much credit or not we can take from where God has us right now. When you think about it, my became a Christian in college and then went straight into doing part-time evangelism. He worked as a civil engineer and then at nights and weekends he was running a church and doing all this stuff. That's how he met my mom, who, became a Christian because of that. Her mother and her family became a Christian and they've been running a ministry for 35 years. So it's sort of like they bought us all the instruments, they like with equipment, but it really is like we've been raised in this, even to the point where my mom would run her own youth camps and she would allow us to teach the kids. So
Mm-hmm.
it feels how this legacy has been kind of building to this moment. But as far as David Leonard goes, he's been our friend and part of,
Yeah, I mean, I love David. David's on tour
Yeah.
with us now, and I know him better each and every day. And the thing that I feel like what you're talking about, I just heard this quote, so I feel like it's coming out of my mouth every single day. But it said, "Humanity is better when old men plant trees that they'll never see the fruit of."
Oh
And
wow.
to me, that
Yeah.
speaks so much to who David Leonard is, because when we signed our record deal, the first name they said to us they wanted us to write with was David Leonard.
Hmm.
And he is somebody who has earned the right to pick and choose who he works and invests in, and instead he invests more freely in everybody he knows. I've
Hmm.
never called David an answer. I've never asked him something he didn't respond. And I just feel like that to me, whether you're not your blood, that makes you family. Like when you invest something in somebody, whether or not you ever get the benefit from it, that's the kind of stuff that is like kingdom stuff. That's like godly behavior. So I love David, and we're so lucky to have him in our lives. And he's like just a brilliant mind as well as a brilliant person.
Speaking on the community aspect, you know, we're fortunate that right here is like my built-in accountability partners. They're my best friends. They're the closest people in my soul. And so sometimes that can even work against you because you've just got such a good thing here. Even their spouses, I'm just like the most comfortable around. And I just remember doing country music. Kind of the world's way of going about it was networking. And that just to me was like a very daunting word. It felt like, okay, go out and do things you don't necessarily want to do. Try to talk about all the things you're a part of, maybe impress people. Totally. And I'm learning now, getting to tour and do Christian music. It will actually just happen organically if you will just go and hang out with people and maybe like
without an agenda.
Yes, no agenda, and don't name drop. Just like work with people and ask how are they doing. We all like we're out on tour. We all play football together. We do events every week. We're having such a good time. So like networking, it's just like it's so much more fun to actually have community. And we're like play on Sunday nights on this tour that we're on, and we've been trying to go to the local church that we play at on that Sunday morning.
Wow.
And just like not lose the concept of being a part of the body of Christ. Like if we really mean what we say, like really try to keep that going and don't let your work or the road pull you away from the need.
Totally hear you. I my part of my own story is, you know, I was a worship pastor for many years. That's where PraiseCharts kind of grew out of, and all I ever really wanted to do was be in a place where I could just play music just for the love of it, which I'm in that place now where I can do PraiseCharts. But as you can tell, it's like I can't wait for a Sunday when I can get either a guitar in my hand or piano, and I don't have to think about, you know, there's so many layers of complexity to being a worship pastor. God bless all of you out there who are carrying that mantle, because it's a huge thing, and I honor you for that. I love my worship pastor. He's a dear friend of mine, but it's just something about like loving the music, just loving to play, loving the people, and coming alongside, trying to be an encouragement to other musicians and other churches. I love that you'll go to, you know, a local church. I just imagine that if you're some local church and there's CAIN is there on a Sunday morning and you're just people like everyone else. So I love that. So
yeah, I was gonna say
I
that.
can't imagine anyone knowing who we are. Like they may be like, "God bless that homeless person." Like,
it's pretty. An 18-wheeler parking lot with our picture on it, and no one recognizes us when we come in. Okay, so that's pretty telling. But I too, because like I find myself, and I think this is true of most like musicians or creatives. It's so refreshing to come into these churches on a Sunday, and it because I don't go there because I'm not a part of the program or anything. I'm not critical, and I'm not responsible for any of it. So it is such a very freeing, like, oh man, this is great. Look at this church in, you know, we'll be in Clarksville, Tennessee, but we're all over the country. And it's like, Taylor, you've said this before, but it's like, it just affirms for you that this Jesus is a real thing. Because in every random corner of the earth that we go to, we find more people that love the same Jesus we do. And it's just like, oh, thank you, Lord.
Beautiful. Guys, I feel like we could go on forever, but I'm getting on a plane and gonna come to Chicago. So where are you playing tonight? That's all I'm thinking. No, I'm not, but I would do it in a heartbeat, and I'm sure there will be a moment when I can come and see you, and I'll flag you down and be like, remember me? We had that little awkward chat, you know, that was a good time. So, and I just want to give you some encouragement. We're just doing a ton of work following your music in PraiseCharts, and we make like the chord chart, the piano vocal, the choir, the orchestra, the tracks so that you can go from on Sunday, I'm going to take one of your songs, just me, the piano, and an acoustic guitar and a little, gym with basketball hoops and a crappy sound system. And we're going to like lay it down. But then just imagine like a 200 voice choir, 100 voice orchestra, and 5,000 people. Like that also can happen, right? And is happening every week. So those are the kinds of charts that we're making so that any church of any size can light up, find the groove, find their color, and just express it, right? So anyways, we're on the journey with you, and I just want you to be encouraged that we love it and love being on this journey with you.
Thank you so much for investing in this and making it accessible to everybody. Oh, that's so awesome. You are placing this in people's lives and churches and making it,
Well, and I want to you to return the encouragement. I said earlier we were a worship team before we were CAIN the band. We use PraiseCharts.
We use
Let me tell you that your research,
No way.
I'm telling you, the ability to transpose, that the way you do stuff on your site, you are enabling people that don't have a 5,000 people resources. You are enabling worship leaders in a mighty, mighty way. So thank you, not only for like investing in part, but you're investing in every person in the world that says, I feel called to this.
Yeah.
You are equipping in a way to walk in that without being afraid of failing. So you guys are
really wild to think. I'm like, oh my gosh, PraiseCharts.
Yeah.
Like when I saw that and the logo came up, and I was like, can I tell you how many times I've been I have a button on my laptop. It's a PraiseCharts.
Okay, well, now I think we're fanboying over each other, so it's getting a little bit awkward now. But I do appreciate it, and I think just that we can even just see you as you're not just this big touring band. You're also, you're deep in your heart. You're worship leaders who are like on the same stage that we're all on in different sizes, in different places. And I find that hugely relatable, and I love that. So have an awesome concert tonight, a great tour that you're on. Know that I'm there with you all along the way. I can't wait for that Hymns album to come out. So looking forward to that. Not saying it's a real thing, but I'm sure there'll be more hymns coming through. So looking forward to it.
Okay, we'll see you soon, and you be ready to play Blessed Assurance
I was about to say,
next time.
Okay. Love it. Thank you, guys. This is Ryan Dahl from PraiseCharts and CAIN on the road in Chicago somewheres. So I hope you're encouraged. Go get their music on PraiseCharts. Bring it to your church on Sunday. They will light up. I promise you. Talk to you later. Yes, I kind of am. I'll go back to where we can see us now. There we go. Oh, finish.